In sports tonight, Monday, February 20, rookie Ricky gets the nod for the West Indies tour in a new-look Australian touring side. Brisbane Broncos breathe a sigh of relief. The judiciary rules on the Terry Mattison tackle. End of an era in Aussie rules. Alan Jakovic and Peter Dacos choose the sideline for 95. And the latest America's Cup Challenge Series racing off San Diego. Now it's a three-horse race. Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Tim Webster, heading sports tonight. Cricket, with Australia's selectors naming a squad without surprises for the toughest assignment in the game, a West Indies tour. The two-month trip to the Caribbean is far from a holiday. Mark Taylor's men will play 4 tests, trying to break a 22-year series hoodoo. Tasmania's Ricky Ponting is the only new cap. South Australia's Greg Blewett will pack his senior tour bags for the first time. WA pacemen Brendan Julian and Joe Angel have been overlooked, but their teammate Justin Langer returns. Memories of the Windies still ringing in his head.
Hits him.
Painful memories in more ways than one.
My first test match was the 4th test in Adelaide, and I remember Australia just lost, and I remember the expression on Alan Border's face. You know, he's been trying for a long time, his whole career, to try and beat the West Indies, so that really sticks in my mind.
Langer not only has a chance at revenge, but also reprieve. His only score above 50 this summer, an unbeaten 241 against the Blues.
I enjoy facing fast bowling, so I think I got the credentials there. You know, like I say, it's nice that the selectors have retained faith because, you know, it has been a bit of a lean season. The
24-year-old is stepping into the cricketing hotbed, full of colour, but also killer instinct. The Aussies haven't won in the Caribbean since 1972-73.
You know, I'm going to get out there and enjoy myself, enjoy my cricket, and, you know, facing the best bowlers in the world is a great challenge, and I just can't wait to be involved in it.
A promising, exciting blend of batsmen. 20-year-old Ricky Ponting will make his first senior test tour. Slashing South Australian Greg Blewett is also an 18 graduate. 7 wickets in New Zealand almost certainly secured Paul Rifle the 4th paceman's job. Teammate Joe Angel makes way for the resting Craig McDermott and Damien Fleming.
To get on any tour with the Australian team's a great thrill, but obviously against the West Indies, who are the world champs, gives me a chance to, well, hopefully we can win over there, and it'll be, you know, a great achievement to beat them over there.
Fleming's been to the Windies before. He toured with the Aussie youth team 4 years ago, and he's expecting difficult conditions.
Had to get the injections today, so I had the big one sort of in the rump there, so yeah, hopefully everything will go well from now on.
The Aussies will play 5 one-dayers in the West Indies before the ultimate first test in Guyana at the end of March.
And all the best to them. And in New Zealand, a win to Australia's women's team against the locals. Australia won by 6 wickets in the 47th over at Eden Park, scoring 4 for 156. And once again, the Kiwis came unstuck with a series of nervous run-outs. Interesting developments on the eve of the AFL draft. Former Collingwood star Peter Dacos and colourful Melbourne full forward Alan Jakovic have not nominated, although Dacos did think about it, coming as close as filling out the form.
The fax machine at AFL headquarters was working some serious overtime today, receiving several last-minute draft nominations. The big questions: would Melbourne's Alan Jakovic and former Collingwood star Peter Dacos nominate? The answer: no on both counts. Jakovic has decided to take the year off and concentrate on rehabilitation. Dacos, though, was another matter. At one stage, he looked certain to nominate. His manager, Ricky Nixon, even had a signed form ready to fax. But despite interest from several clubs, Dacos decided not to nominate just a couple of minutes before the deadline.
You know, it's not an easy decision to make, and he's had to make it fairly quickly. I mean, the interest by clubs was only shown in the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I guess he had to weigh up whether he'd be fit enough to play football this year or not.
The biggest name in tomorrow's draft is Dermot Brereton. Will he return home to Hawthorn, or will he end up at his 3rd club? It appears the kid could well be a Collingwood player, this time tomorrow.
If I was a betting man and the Crown Casino's not far away, I might get down and see what the odds are.
Meantime, North Melbourne veteran Darren Crocker is currently undergoing an exploratory knee operation after injuring himself during a weekend practice match. Kangaroo officials fear the worst and believe Crocker will miss the entire season. However, the news is much brighter for Carlton fans. Steve Kernahan knee and Andrew McKay elbow have both been cleared of serious damage and may take their place in next Saturday's Ansett Cup game against Richmond.
Yeah, you're going to have these sort of runs every now and again, but the good thing is Kernahan and McKay definitely should be right for Saturday.
Meantime, in Adelaide, the final list includes Stephen Schwert and Eugene Warrior, but there have been some unexpected omissions.
Two names missing from the draft list are Alan Jakovic and Peter Dacos. Jakovic has put his AFL career on hold, while Dacos has decided enough is enough. Meanwhile, Carlton's Stephen Kernahan and Andrew McKay have been cleared of serious injury after mishaps during a trial match against Collingwood on the weekend. On the Crows front, Brett Chalmers is almost certain to miss Friday night's game against Melbourne at Football Park after suffering a cork thigh on Saturday at Margaret River. Impressive in the trial was former Collingwood defender Jason McCartney. The rugged utility says he's pleased with his improving form.
Internal trials, you like to just get through and get the match under your belt, and always, you know, in anything playing against your own teammates, it's very hard, and you know, we couldn't really put the few things into practice. It's Robert's been onto us about our tackling, our shepherd. We had to ease up on that, and it always makes it hard internally.
Robert Shaw's expected to try more new ideas against Melbourne on Friday night at Football Park.
But with only a week to go after this weekend's game, before our first Ansett Cup game, we'll be, you know, just trying a few different things and putting the finishing touches on. We've got the Ansett Cup, and then we're all really looking forward to the start of the season.
It'll be a busy time down here at Football Park this week. Apart from the Crows' Friday night trial match, the SANFL directors will have their annual general meeting here tonight. The 9 clubs will also meet for the first time this week to discuss the Port Adelaide issue.
And the Australian Rules annual general meeting underway in Melbourne tonight, agreeing that 1994 was one of the code's most successful ever. Total revenue accrued $61 million. The game also has 2 new life members, Collingwood's Tony Shaw and the Bombers' Timmy Watson.
The AFL's annual general meeting revealed tonight that the AFL has strengthened its reputation as one of this country's leading national competitions in sport, also highlighting the improvement of several clubs financially.
Well, it goes to show you the health of the overall competition when all the clubs returned an aggregate record profit for the year, far and above any other year in the history of the competition. So I believe that the competition's heading in the right direction, and all the clubs are very financially healthy.
The year's success was indicated by large attendances reaching a 40-year high, growth in radio and television audiences, and an all-time high in membership numbers. A satisfying result financially, with the AFL recording a surplus of over $32 million. Also a highlight, as present lifetime members looked on, 2 of the game's longest-serving players were inducted as life members, Collingwood's Tony Shaw and Essendon's Tim Watson. Shaw reached a significant milestone last year, becoming the Magpies game record holder, bettering 306 games established by the late Gordon Coventry. A great honour for the former Collingwood captain.
I feel a bit embarrassed because there were so many fantastic players who were in this elite group, but probably if you hang around and annoy people enough, and probably helps when you get the ball a little bit, these things happen.
A little bit, huh? Still ahead in sports tonight, baseball, the Trots, and the judicial fallout of the head highs. Rugby League news now, and Roosters front row forward Clinton O'Brien has become the first casualty of the ARL judiciary this season. O'Brien tonight found guilty of a head-high tackle on Souths forward Sean Wallace in a trial game on Saturday and suspended for 6 weeks, ruling him out of the first 4 Winfield Cup rounds. Earlier today, Brisbane lock Terry Mattison was cleared of a high tackle report from Saturday's Tooheys Challenge game against Newcastle. And former Western Suburbs lock and soon-to-be Western Red Brendan Tutor might be headed for more trouble, though, after allegedly assaulting an English League fan.
The Western Red signed Tudor to play for the new club 18 months ago, fully aware of his reputation as one of the wild men of league. British police are investigating an incident in which it is alleged Tudor, who was playing for Featherstone Rovers, assaulted an 11-year-old partially disabled girl at the end of a match against Workington Town today. The Reds were unaware of the incident until contacted by Sports Tonight.
Not a great deal, just a facts indicating that there's been a police investigation, and we'll await the outcome of that investigation before making any further comment.
Gordon Allen finds it hard to believe the report is accurate.
I certainly don't. Brendan's one of the most personable footballers in the world, and find it very hard to comprehend that this would have occurred.
The future of Canberra centre Ruben Wiki has been placed solely in the hands of Auckland Warriors coach John Mooney after a meeting between the 2 clubs. Wiki has signed contracts with both Canberra and Auckland, but but wants to remain in Canberra. The ARL has said the 2-year contract with the Warriors is legally binding. And if Moni wants Wiki to cross the Tasman, his days with the Raiders may be over.
John would say it's Ruben's decision whether he plays or not or stands by the contract, but Ruben's made his decision and John knows that and John admitted that. So it's now really, you know, up to the coach as to whether or not, you know, he makes a decision as to whether or not let Ruben break the contract or not.
Wiki insists that if he can't play for Canberra, he'll sit the next 2 seasons out and play park football. But it would be a huge gamble, considering he could now earn in excess of $100,000 a season.
Yes, would be a gamble. Well, last season he was voted the Australian Horse of the Year, and after yesterday's absolutely slashing win in the Lightning Stakes, it looks as though the Mahogany Magic could be better than ever. The 4-year-old left the cream of Victoria's sprinters in his wake yesterday, and trainer Lee Friedman says the dual Derby winner will now be kept to racing at 1,600 metres or shorter.
This afternoon, Mahogany and his trainer Lee Friedman made lonely figures as they crossed the famous Flemington straight track, a track on which 24 hours earlier the outstanding 4-year-old had shown his championship qualities, beating the likes of Alanon, Caltrice, Sequalo and the flying machine Hariba in the Lightning Stakes, his first start since the Turnbull Stakes in October.
Yeah, it was a great performance, you know, for a horse that had an injury during the spring, and to come back in a quality field and take on a horse like Hariba and beat him is, you know, it's a measure of what a good horse he is, really.
Before Mahogany's injury last year, the stable had toyed with the idea of even having a crack at the Melbourne Cup. Now Friedman says the horse has shown him he's no longer a stayer.
I guess we'll probably keep him to the shorter races, unless he tells us differently. But I think there's plenty of evidence there to say that he is better over sprint distances.
Of course, Mahogany's wasn't the only comeback to the Group 1 winner's circle yesterday. Champion jockey Mick Dittman was also back in the limelight after a lengthy absence.
He went from a feather duster to a rooster in about a week. He was flat out getting some rides at Hawkesbury last week, and all of a sudden he's won a Group 1.
The day before, another of Friedman's big guns, Durbridge, showed his best form this preparation, when he led almost throughout to win the Blamey Stakes for the 2nd successive year.
He's a promising young horse of about 7 years of age. Tremendous competitor. Just put it all together on Saturday and at his favourite track, probably over nearly his favourite distance. So, you know, it's nice to have him back firing because it gives us a bit more, gives us a few more options with horses for the autumn now.
Whilst the master trainer is now looking forward to the Australian Cup, he acknowledges it'll be tough for the chestnut to repeat last year's victory.
It takes a pretty rare animal to win 2 Australian Cups on the trot. So, you know, we'll go in with some confidence, but, you know, we're pretty mindful that Jearn's a very good horse.
Yeah, and investigations are continuing in Adelaide following a disastrous trotting accident resulting in 2 drivers being rushed to hospital. Race organisers insist they took all the necessary precautions, a claim supported by a reinsman competing in the event.
The Victoria Park Pacing Cup was meant to be an historic event, the first harness race at the course in more than 100 years. But at the 200-metre mark, it turned into disaster. 2 horses took fright as they approached a strip of wood chips covering the segment of Grand Prix track that crosses the course.
Come to the cry, there's one down, there's 2 or 3 gone down. Oh, it's like
4 horses crashed to the turf, 2 riders were taken to hospital, both are in a stable condition. The Harness Racing Board has begun a steward's inquiry into the accident. It says it organised the race as best it could, taking all safety precautions into account.
Until the stewards have had ample opportunity to investigate the matter fully, it's quite, I think, inappropriate to start nominating people who may or may not be responsible.
Ross Sugars, who competed in yesterday's event, says the accident was a freak mishap.
It's just one of those situations. I think that everyone thought it wouldn't happen, but it did happen.
He says trainers were advised to place shadow rolls below the eyes of their horses to stop them from seeing the ground. He says the 2 horses who shied at the crossing were not wearing the rolls.
Stay with us. Still ahead in sports tonight, the super action thrills and spills from Daytona, and one Australia on target to contest the Louis Vuitton Cup. Welcome back. An upset as big as Shaquille O'Neal's Reeboks in the NBA, lowly Minnesota scoring a rare win. The Timberwolves beat Sharks team Orlando by 5 points. That's only the Magic's 12th loss this season. In the other games, New York beat the Rockets, the Pacers down Miami, Denver by 2 against Washington, Phoenix beat the Jazz, and the Lakers were too good for Portland. To NASCAR's, and Sterling Marlin has become only the third man in history to win the Daytona 500 in consecutive years. Dale Earnhardt yet again finished second. The legend has never won the ultimate NASCAR race.
The wildest ride of the day. After the restart on lap 14, Davy Jones, the number 77 car, he gets sideways. Thank goodness a spoiler comes up to keep him from flipping over, but he does a series of 360s. Now, if you're in pit row, man, you're checking your insurance policy right now. It just kept on spinning and spinning until it came to a rest. After an hour and 44-minute rain delay, the man with the arrow is Rusty Wallace. This is lap 160. Rusty Wallace, number 2, he tangles with Bobby Hamilton. Rusty Wallace would stay at the wall, would tear up his Miller Genuine Draft car, tear it up good. Bobby Hamilton would go sideways. Rusty Wallace was knocked out of the race, as was Bobby Hamilton. As far as Rusty Wallace, folks, this is the 4th year in a row that he's been involved in a wreck.
I can't get these guys to drive with their head. They just keep crashing. It's just unbelievable. That's about it, man. I'm just about tired of it.
And you've been pretty outspoken about that, I know, in drivers' meetings.
They don't listen. Their heads are like damn iron. It's just aggravates the crap out of you. No, they shouldn't be driving out there.
Over the last 10 laps, following a pit stop, Dale Earnhardt, the black car, you know him, number 3, he comes from 14th place. He's chasing Sterling Marlin in the Kodak car, but he won't catch him. As Sterling Marlin wins for the 2nd year in a row, Dale Earnhardt, it's the 3rd time he finishes 2nd. He has never won the Daytona 500.
It's the Daytona 500. I ain't supposed to win the damn thing, Rick.
Now for something decidedly quieter. America's Cup Challenger racing off San Diego, again in very light winds with the slim trim new one. Australia blitzing Nippon Challengers. Our other entry wallowed again, this time in the wake of Spain's Rioja de España.
One Australia and Nippon battled fickle winds at the race start. John Bertrand's new yacht able to catch the breeze, but the Japanese stranded, giving the Australians an 18 seconds head start. The Aussies gained distance over the next 4 legs, a wind shift on the last beat, taking the margin to 8 minutes and 40 seconds at the finish.
On what has been a crazy day, even by San Diego standards.
The light winds didn't help Sid Fisher's Sydney 95. The yacht began as a semi-final prospect, but the race went badly from the beginning, Spain blocking wind to Sydney's sails. Headsail trouble added to the problem, but a quick replacement brought Sydney into line with the leader, enough to overtake.
And Sydney 95's bounced Spain out.
Spain shadowed the Aussie yacht, and as the wind died, so did Sydney's lead. Sid Fisher's boat designed for heavier weather. Spain cruised to an easy victory, its first in 16 races.